Excerpt from the comedy movie Love and Death, 1975. Used courtesy United Artists. Here, Emperor Napoleon rages that the dessert he is developing is being overshadowed by an English recipe.
No, it's not what I had in mind. It should have more cream between the crust and no raisins.
But at our last meeting you said raisins.
No! If this pastry is to bear my name, it must be richer, more cream.
Yes, but is there time?
Very little. My spies tell me that my illustrious British enemy is working on a new meat recipe which he plans to call Beef Wellington.
It will never get off the ground.
We must develop the Napoleon before he develops Beef Wellington. The future of Europe hangs in the balance.
Excerpt from the French Chef television show starring Julia Child. Produced by WGBH in Boston. Originally aired on November 22, 1965. Used courtesy the Public Broadcasting Service.
You know, every once in a while you have to, or you want to, do a bang-up fancy dinner and have a wonderful main course. Well, here it is. It's a whole tenderloin of beef surrounded with mushrooms and Madeira and baked in a beautiful pastry crust. This is a filet of beef Wellington, and we're doing it next time on the French Chef.
True crime.
Sex.
Political conspiracy.
Celebrity gossip.
Murder.
UFOs.
Crooked officials.
The occult. Assassination.
Courtroom drama. Rape.
Corporate scams. Scandal Sheets. Hello everyone, and welcome to Scandal Sheet. My name is Thad Helsley, and today we're going to do something a little different on the podcast. We're going to lighten things up a little bit, and we're going to do our very first cooking show. That's right. Now, because this is still Scandal Sheet, we're not going to tell you how to cook the best turkey or ham ever. There's a million podcasts out there that will tell you exactly how to do that. Instead, we're going to show you some alternative recipes that are just as celebratory. And to do this, I am joined, as always, by my amazing co-host, Anuradha. Anuradha, how are you?
Hey Thad, hi everybody. I am doing well. I am very hungry after looking at some of these videos. I kind of want to eat.
Anuradha, the holidays are almost upon us, and an important part of the way people around the world celebrate the holidays is with family and friends and by having an amazing meal together. And it just so happens, dear viewers and listeners, that my co-host here, Anuradha, is an excellent cook. Is that true?
Well, Thad, I don't want to toot my own horn, but no, I feel like I am pretty decent. I feel like I'm pretty good. You know, and I think because I don't know, I feel like I try to be really creative with things, but I also try to be pretty loyal to like a recipe or a dish. You know what I mean? So I kind of have a good balance, I feel, at least. So you need to plug in my food Instagram just in case. But
okay.
Yeah, no, I really love cooking. I feel like it's like therapy for me. It's like really, really nice, kind of calming for me, and I like it.
So you put together a video for us of you cooking a very special recipe that our viewers could cook themselves over the holidays, and we're just going to play that, and you narrate that just like you were Julia Child or Rachel Ray or Giada De Laurentiis or something like that. But before we play that, and I think we're just going to want to play it the way it is because it's so fantastic. But is there any, you want to give us any little intro, or should we just wait till it's all over and then you can follow it up?
Yeah, no, I mean, this dish is really a staple in Barcelona.
Barcelona. Okay.
So definitely, it's not difficult, and I think that's what it was one of the first things I learned how to make when I was studying there. So I
Yeah,
just
you mentioned
immediately,
you went to university in Barcelona. Is that it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
So
Wow, must have been a great experience.
it was awesome. Like, it was really, really cool. Now, naturally, I wish that I had spent more time there traveling, this, that, whatnot, but I was all about like studying and working at that time. And this was like super easy for me to make. So like I would make it, and then just kind of keep some, throughout the next 2, 3 days just to make sure I had something. And then when my siblings came to visit me, it was just perfect because I would make it for them and it would be like a nice brunch kind of thing. And they came during the holidays. So now it's become like a holiday thing for me to make
So
because they
when you
came
were
and visited me during that time.
so when you were studying, you apparently were not in a dormitory. You must have been in some kind of a situation where you had access to a kitchen, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was studying and working.
Luxury beachfront property. Is that what
I
I'm
wish.
thinking?
I wish. I mean, the amazing thing about Barcelona is that when you're living in the city, it doesn't have like city prices. So you can get a really nice apartment for €350 a month.
What does that translate that to US dollars? Is that
It's probably maybe $375, $400.
that's unbelievable.
Viewers, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
But
unbelievable.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
and
And
it
that was
was it
what in
was
the
really
20,
nice.
20 teens or something? Just 15 years
Yes.
ago?
So it was 2015 and like 2014, 2015.
Okay.
And it was just
Unbelievable. Can't
yeah, it
believe
was
it.
it was really cool. Now
Wow.
naturally I did the wrong thing and I like kind of like made myself suffer in a really, really tiny place for a long time. And then finally I was like, you know what? Let me move to a bigger place. And it was fantastic, and I was able to kind of stretch my cooking skill set and that kind of thing. And this was one of the biggest things that I really loved making, and I would make it for even my roommates. If they didn't want to eat or just couldn't afford food that week or whatever it was. So it was fun.
And you were in one of the most, romantic, beautiful cities in the entire world. So that's a plus.
Oh, I would say one of the most entertaining cities. And what I also loved about Barcelona was how family oriented the city was. So when you're traveling around there, when you're in Plaza de Catalunya, which is like the main center, right? Everything there is very kid friendly, like that kind of thing. But then if you don't want that, you can walk a couple miles and then you reach beautiful nightclubs like that are like half are inside and half are outside on the beach. So it
Oh,
was really
wow.
cool. It was really
Wow.
awesome.
It's amazing. Okay, well, without further ado, let's go into your video.
Good afternoon, Scandal Sheet viewers, listeners, and of course, fans and subscribers. This is Anuradha, your co-host. We're going to do something super different today for Scandal Sheet. What we're going to be doing is, of course, a little bit of a cooking demo. As you guys know from previous episodes, and Thad knows as well, I love cooking. It is my passion. So today, what makes this a little bit scandalous is we're going to be doing a tortilla de España, a Spanish tortilla, for the holidays. So normally people do turkey, ham, all that good stuff, which is what I do as well. But something that I absolutely loved and learned during my time in Spain was, of course, how to make a Spanish tortilla. So I'm sure you're thinking, well, what do you mean? Isn't it just a flat piece of bread? What exactly are you talking about? Let me actually show you what I'm talking about. So this is a tortilla that you're probably used to, but what I'm going to be showing you is, of course, how to make a tortilla de España con patatas y cebolla. Patatas is potatoes, cebolla is onions. And what this is it's kind of a Spanish omelet. I don't like to use the word omelet because I feel like it's so much more than that. So let's go ahead and get started. So what you're going to need for the recipe, of course, is, I'll start small to big. So you're going to need green onions. I love the flavor of green onions. I use the white part in the actual batter, and then I garnish it with the green part. You're going to need, of course, lovely, thinly sliced white onions. You can also use yellow onions, as long as they're not sweet, unless that's your thing, and then go ahead. But I love using white onions. I would use red onions, but probably not for this dish. And then, of course, we have the lovely, thinly sliced potatoes. Just make sure that you use like a good quality potato, Yukon potato, something that's not going to get super mushy super fast, and cut them very thin, because you're going to want to cook them, and you don't want to burn them while you're taking time to cook the egg. And I'll show you what I mean. But just lightly season it for taste with salt and pepper, and you should be good. And then last but not least, I have here 7 eggs. I use the whole egg. I don't do egg white or anything like that because we want the body. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to do is add in a little bit of olive oil. And just make sure the pan is nice and hot. What we want to start off doing here is we want to actually caramelize the onions. So we're going to go ahead, put that in here. I love that sizzle. Always helps. And what caramelizing onions means is just adding a lovely, nice color to the onions. That's actually when the onions start to also get some flavor. I mean, onions have flavor before that, but you kind of want to dim out the super sharp flavor and then also get in kind of a little bit more of a, like a softer, caramelized, almost buttery flavor to the onions. Put the heat just a little bit low, just to make sure you're not burning the onions. Normally people ask, like, can't you caramelize them before? And then just kind of keep them on the side. You can, but I'm all about simple cooking and just kind of, getting everything together in a more cohesive way. But there aren't really any hard rules. So some people cook the potatoes first and then put them on the side. Some people cook the onions first and then put them in. I cook the onions and then I slowly will start to add the potatoes. So you will see that in a little bit. The only thing that I would say that I don't really do is I don't really cook it in the oven. So, and the reason why I don't do that is because so the way something is cooked and the country that it's coming from, I try to be as respectful as possible to the cooking process. And at least to my knowledge, I have never seen anyone cook Spanish tortilla in an oven. So that's why I don't really do that. But, if you feel like that's easier, you can go ahead. It's just not really something that I do. So now you will start to see that the onion is browning a little bit. So this is actually the perfect time to go ahead and add your potatoes. And I just kind of add them here and there just to make sure that each potato can start to cook evenly and we're not having any stragglers of raw potato mixed in with the cooked potato. You are going to mix these So it's not a huge deal, but I just personally like to make sure that they can all kind of get cooked at the same time. If you feel at this time that you need a little bit more oil, you can go ahead and add that. I do need a little bit more oil, not a ton. Now, the great part about this is you want to increase the heat a little bit. This is going to cook for probably 15-20 minutes. And the reason why you want to cook these, again, completely up to you how you want to do this. But the reason why you want to kind of cook the potatoes and give them a little bit of a head start is, if you've ever noticed, potatoes do take some time to cook. Eggs take a lot less of time. So I like to give the potatoes a little bit more of a chance to start cooking before I put in the egg mixture. So the reason why this is such a special dish for me during the holidays is, when I was a student doing my master's program in Spain, in Barcelona, my siblings had come to visit me, and this was just such a special memory that I have with them, where we would go to either a cafe or a restaurant, get some croissant, and then we would come back and have a Spanish tortilla. And it was just something that was very new, very, very special for that time. And sorry, I just realized you can't see my face. So it was just something that was very new and very special for that time. And I wasn't, I wasn't a wealthy student, but this was just something that was what I was able to kind of do and learn super quick, and then share it with my siblings that are also foodies. And that's why it's something that's very special, and they came during the holiday time. So, but I wouldn't really say this is a holiday dish, but because they came during the holiday time, it's just something that just stuck with me. So now you will start to smell kind of the flavors coming in together, and I absolutely love that. So this is going to cook for a little bit, like I said, around 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and cook this, and I'll join you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, so welcome back. This has actually been cooking for around 14-15 minutes. I want to show you what it looks like. So what I love about this is it's got a little bit of brown, but how can you truly test that the potatoes are ready for the egg mixture? So I am a big fan of taking a clean, unused fork or spoon and trying out the texture just to see where we are. So when the fork kind of goes in the potatoes and it's going in a little bit easier, that means that it's done. You can also taste it, and it's perfect. So now, what we need to do is give this a few more shakes. Make sure that it's nice and fluffy, got some air in it. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to dump the potatoes in the egg mixture. So I know that sounds a bit odd, but there's a reason why we're doing this. It's because we want the egg to start to get a little bit of the potato mixture. And the great part about it is there's a little bit more olive oil still in the pan, which is wonderful. But I want to add in a little bit more olive oil. First, let's just go ahead and mix. I want to show you what this looks like. So we want to go ahead and we want to mix the egg and potato together, right? And then let me show you what comes next. So as you can see, the eggs and the potatoes are completely submerged together. Now we're going to take a little bit of the green onions and we're just going to add the white parts to it. That's going to add a really, really nice flavor. I love green onions And, you know, I've heard people ask, like, why are you adding green onions? Why can't you just use one kind of onion? I love green onions because it just kind of gives the dish a really nice punch. And it has a different flavor. I feel like all the onions have different flavors. So depending on the dish, the region of food that you're cooking for, you're going to have a different kind of flavor, right? So red onions, I feel like, are very good accent onions. They do use red onions in Indian cooking from time to time, but you'll see that it's normally kind of put as a garnish at the end. So completely up to you. This is cooking really good. What I want to do now at this point is add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, because we did not season the eggs at all. So this will help add that flavor back in there. And then we want to make sure that the temperature is somewhat low, just so it doesn't splash you. Then slowly add the mixture back in. At this point in time, you can also layer it. I like to layer it just because it really, really helps keep everything even and cohesive, because this is going to be, and you'll see, this is going to be kind of a cake-like dish. If you see a little bit of onion and it's a little too dark for you, that's okay. You can always just chuck it. I like that extra kind of caramelized taste, and I like it when the potatoes have that too. It's the egg kind of cooks a lot faster, so the great part about it is you're almost done. All you need to do now is just kind of wait, move a couple pieces around that you want to move, keep everything kind of flat and cohesive. And then if you are somebody who maybe doesn't have the strongest wrists and you can't really flip it in a way that, you know, some chefs do, that's okay. I can't either. So you can either get a big plate, put it on top, because you are going to have to flip this. If you don't want to, because it makes you a little bit nervous, you can also get another pan and do the double pan method. So let's go ahead and do that today. This is kind of a fail-safe way to be able to get everything into one pan. It is an art, and sometimes the tortilla will break apart. It's still delicious, but it will break apart. Let's see if we can kind of keep it all in one piece. So a good way as well is to just go around and start to make sure that the egg is not sticking to the side of the pan. So Spanish tortilla, my favorite one is the one with the potatoes, but you can also put mushrooms. You can put just onion. So there's a tortilla de cebolla, which is just onion. Whatever you want, really. The traditional ones, of course, are the ones with potato, but I saw one with ham and cheese, so completely up to you. As you can see, I'm just going around the pan and loosening the egg from the side, because I just don't want to have it stuck there, especially when I want to flip it. Now comes the tough part, in my opinion. So what you want to do is get this pan a little bit oiled up as well. And then you want to put them together, clasp these two together. Of course, this pan on the top is bigger, so that's a bit of a struggle. And see if this is hot. This is not hot, so that's perfect. Let me see if I can do this. Keep this nice and firm. And then one motion, flip it. And let's see how that looks. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Can you guys see how amazing this looks? So basically, we have all the eggs. We can slide this down. If you guys have ever seen a picture of the Spanish tortilla, you'll see that it has a very kind of signature roundish look. So what you can do is you can start to shape that now. Turn up the temp a little bit. So this side cooked for about 5 to 6 minutes. You want to cook the other side for around 5 to 6 minutes. People cook it for a shorter time. I just like to be a little bit safe about it. At the end of all of this, you can sprinkle in some cheese on the top. I don't do that because, again, I try to be, I try to kind of stick with things that I've seen during my travels. But again, it's all up to your flavor and your taste preference and what you like. So we're going to give this a little bit of time to cook. And after 6 minutes, I'll show you what exactly it's going to look like. All right, guys. So when you slide it out of the pan, of course, you will see that it is one huge, lovely tortilla. Now, as promised, you can just season it a little bit with some green onions, and then you are done. So let's go ahead and try this out. I want to take a little bit of a piece so you can cut into it. Now, naturally, there are some people that are able to make it a lot thicker. You can do that as well. I didn't use a ton more eggs, so it is a little bit of a thinner tortilla, but it is still absolutely wonderful. And then take a little bit of this, and let's see how this turned out. This bite looks amazing, by the way. So first, I want to show you what this actually looks like. So it's got layers of the wonderful potato, it's got egg, it's got the onion, and then it's got the green onion. So this is going to be absolutely amazing. And let's try it out. This is so good. What I love about it is it has just enough flavor. So sometimes when you're adding just salt and pepper, some folks may think like, that's not enough flavor. I totally get it. I'm Indian, so I totally get, why you may feel that way. But trust me when I say sometimes it's just good to let the natural ingredients shine through. So you add a little bit of salt and pepper, and you get to taste, and green onion, of course, and you get to taste the natural flavors of the potatoes and so on and so forth. Now, if you're someone who really, really needs that extra punch, you can add, red chili powder, you can add garlic powder, anything like that. But then you run the risk of it not necessarily being as authentic per se. But then again, you have to go according to your taste buds. So I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please do try it and let us know what you think here at Scandal Sheet. All right, everyone, have a good one.
So originally I was going to make a quiche, and I was going to, I was going to make the crust and everything like that.
Yeah, I talked you out of that. I tried to talk you out of that. So,
I mean, see, my whole situation is that I just felt like when I was looking at what is really special to me and what are part of my memories, I remembered the Tortilla de España, right? More than the quiche. The quiche is something that I started making after Thanksgiving a little bit more recently, just to help finish up the leftovers of Thanksgiving without being stuck eating the same thing. Right?
The conventional leftovers, like turkey
exactly
meat. Okay.
Exactly, right? Or taking the ham and just really dicing it finely, and
Sure.
then combining it with Gruyere or something like that, right? So that was something that I recently started doing, but I decided to make tortilla de España instead because it just reminds me of all these amazing memories I have. It reminds me of, when my siblings came to visit, and it was just a very special time because I had moved to Barcelona, a place that I'd never been, all by myself. And for them to come and take the time to visit me just meant a lot. So this dish had kind of a little bit more of an emotional thing tied to it. And I just feel like there's so many things you can do with, also with quiche, but with the tortilla de España, right? You can, like I mentioned in the video, you can make it with potatoes, which is the most famous way, tortilla de patatas, or you can, make it with onion. I did a combination of potato and onion. You can do it with ham and cheese, and it's just like this really nice, filling, full meal that you can actually have, and it doesn't really cost much to make at all,
And would you serve it as a brunch dish or a entree? I mean, when would you serve it?
So you can definitely, how people would have it in Barcelona was either for a breakfast or a lunch. Now they have breakfast pretty late. They have all the meals a lot later. So, a lot of
And they
folks
take
would.
naps, and I just love that place. I just
Oh,
wish
it's
I could live.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like their whole lifestyle, like everything is just really, really cool, and you can have it as the main dish, or you can have it with a combination. So originally what I was also going to do, I didn't end up doing it, was making so Barcelona is known for tapas, which are small plates and they're
Yep.
freaking delicious.
Hmm.
And one of the most famous tapas is pan con tomate, which is bread and tomato, but it's not like how you would think. So they actually make the tomato mixture with garlic and olive oil, and then some parts of Barcelona actually make the tomato mixture, or, they take the bread, they toast it, and then they use the bread as a grater, and then they grate the tomato on the bread, and then they drizzle olive oil and garlic on top. So the bread is still nice and crunchy, but it's soaking in the tomato taste, the tomato flavor. But it's not so overwhelming because you're not cutting the pieces and putting it on there.
Sounds
So
delicious, man. You're making me hungry, and I've got
I'm
like
telling you, I'm
a
hungry.
Swanson's frozen meal waiting for me. So I'm like, oh my god. So
I'm hungry just thinking about it because honestly, it was amazing. So that's how you can have it. You can also have it, with a combination. I used to have it with a really nice like sangria or mimosa, and that's how
mm,
my siblings like to have it. Um,
love
you can
sangria,
have
man.
it. Oh yeah. Oh,
Big big pitcher with all the fruit in it and everything.
oh
Oh,
yeah.
ah.
You can do all you can I'm telling you, you can do all sorts of things
Yeah.
with it, and just have fun with it. You can even have it. There's another tapa. It's marinated mushrooms, so it's mushrooms in this really wonderful garlic um, sauce, but it's not like a thick sauce. Like it's still herbed mushrooms, but it's the olive oil kind of gives it this nicer kind of texture, and you can have it with that too. So just a lot of different ways that you can have this dish, and because it's such a staple there, I just thought it would be better to make that and just kind of give everyone something new. Nothing wrong with quiche is wonderful, but that's something that's a little bit more common here.
Hmm. Well, look, you have an Instagram food address. If anybody has any questions about the recipe after they see this, can they reach out to you there? I mean, how should they
Oh
reach out to
yeah.
you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Follow me on my Instagram. We'll put the um, the food Instagram tag in there.
Okay.
So feel free to follow me, and you can even ask me some questions on there. I am actually going to post the photo that I took of the Tortilla de España, so we can put that on there as well. And
Okay.
feel free to
Perfect.
just put it in the comments, any questions you have.
And then, of course, we have the podcast, scandalsheetpod@gmail.com, in case anybody wants to reach out to us. If they can't figure anything else, you can just remember our name, scandalsheetpod.com@gmail, and we'll figure out a way to hook you up with Anuradha. So
we'll get you covered.
We'll get you covered. So our next video covers homemade beef Wellington, as prepared by my brother-in-law and also a previous guest on this podcast, Vince Connelly. Now, this recipe was made and recorded on a Christmas day at the house he and my sister share in Oxford, England. Now, Vince is a PhD, a professor of psychology, and program lead for psychology at Oxford Brookes University in the United Kingdom. Now, he's a published author, and in addition to his teaching, he supervises doctoral students and has a very active program of research, which is too lengthy to put here, but we'll put it in the notes. He is also serving as a British Army reservist. Now, Vince is not with us today, but he recorded a voiceover of his steps on this video that we're just going to show you.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with beef Wellington because one of my favorite chefs that I took several of his master classes, Gordon Ramsay, that's one of his signature
whoa.
things.
Is that the Hell Kitchen guy?
Yeah.
You took
He's
classes
amazing.
with him?
I mean, not with him. So he records these classes that you can purchase.
Oh, okay. So he didn't actually berate you, call you a bitch, a stupid idiot, moron, right?
He actually
doesn't
really doesn't do that. He only does that if you're disrespectful to him or you think you know better.
Okay.
Well,
they make on Hell Kitchen, they make it look like he just runs around and just abuses everybody.
No.
Okay.
He's actually, like, even in these videos you'll see, and he is literally...
He's a puppy dog in real life, you're saying. So let me ask you, would you, now that you've seen Vince's homemade version of beef Wellington, and I'm not sure where his recipe comes from, but he, how would you compare and contrast with Gordon Ramsay's recipe?
I mean, obviously,
And don't
Gordon
say
Ramsay.
anything bad. He's my brother-in-law. So you have to say, he's amazing. Oh my God. The guy walks on water.
He must walk on water if he's your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Anyways, let's go ahead and watch some of Vince's video, and we can just, it's very short. It's only 6 minutes. We'll watch some pieces. If you want to comment on whatever he's doing, that's fine.
So join us here as we're getting the prosciutto ready. Adding the duxelle mushroom mixture onto the top of the prosciutto, and then taking the recently browned and part roasted beef fillet, placing it on top, and enveloping it in the mushroom mixture. Getting ready to wrap it all together. So we've got the lovely mushroom and the prosciutto all wrapped tightly around the fillet itself. Just making sure it's completely enveloped there. Nice and tight. We can consider the amazing history of the beef Wellington while we're sorting out the little details there. Named after the famous Duke who won the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, but made more famous, I think, by the Americans, apparently. A famous favourite of Richard Nixon, the infamous president, but then made more popular back in the UK by Gordon Ramsay, among others. So we got it nicely wrapped up there now. Just transfer it into the fridge, keep it nice and cool, while we move on to the next stage. So here you are, with some almost ready-made puff pastry. What we're going to do is make 2 pieces of pastry, to wrap it round the fillet itself. This pastry, you can get it from any shop, I'm sure, ready-made. It's a bit of a cheat, but it's a lot easier than making your own puff pastry in that way. So simply roll out 2 rectangular shapes. Not sure what I'm doing here. Back in the fridge, seeing things going. Meanwhile, back at the puff pastry point, spreading out that rectangular shape. Oh yes, here we go. So we've unwrapped the fillet from its cling film, our saran wrap. Going to use some egg yolk now to spread around the edges so we can join the 2 pieces together. Nice and brush it all the way around. Just thinking about that lovely meat in the middle there. It's going to be an amazing piece of beef to get into later in the day. You can see we've taken the second piece of pastry, put it over on top, joined it, and sealed it. And just making sure the seal is tight all the way around. I love my puff pastry, so I've got a nice big lip all the way around, so I can get lots of pastry with my beef Wellington when I serve it. Just a little habit of mine, an extravagance of mine. Trimming the edges, giving it a nice big lip, as in said. So I've got lots of that pastry to enjoy with the rest of the Christmas dinner. Now, lots of zigzag shapes up and down the fillet itself, which allows the pastry to cook more efficiently, as well as look really nice as well. It gives you a bit of creativity to play with whenever you're putting these things together, really. All adds to the spectacle, doesn't it? Now, the really difficult part. How to get this massive creation from a whipping board back into the roasting tin. No easy solutions. Gotta be careful you don't ruin the whole thing when you pick it up. So let's come up with some subtle ways of getting in there. Obviously, having lots of flour down on your pastry board would help. But here we can see some improvised suggestions. And it always good to have a helping hand from your lovely wife. Who's 10 times better chef than I am. And knows exactly what kind of tools I need in the kitchen. Right, in the roasting tin. So it's going to go in at 220 degrees. But first, it needs to cool. It's very important it cools. And we see here just the final stages, beating with the egg. So we get a nice, lovely browned surface on the pastry itself. And then finally, chuck it in for the required time, usually 50 to 60 minutes, making sure the pastry doesn't burn in that time. Here we can see the final product, ready to serve, and ready to enjoy.
So look, we're wrapping up. We've got a great episode here. We've got your video. We've got Vince's video. Our very first cooking show. Maybe we should do more of these.
Let's do it.
And maybe you should have your own show. We'll have to kind of think about that. But anything, we're going to have hopefully another episode before Thanksgiving. But anything you want to say to everybody as we're kind of getting in the 2-week home stretch here?
Yeah, no, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully I get to talk to you guys again. Please try out these recipes. Let us know what you think. Also, in addition to that, please also comment, send us messages of things that you like to make during the holidays that may not necessarily be traditionally turkey or ham or stuffing. If there's something that's special to you and your family, feel free to let us know. We love to hear, all sorts of great recipes and stories from our viewers.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Anuradha, for your fabulous, fabulous effort. Thank you, Vince, even though you're not here. We love you from afar. And,
thanks, Vince.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Please follow or subscribe to Scandal Sheet on your favorite pod platform. And share it with all your friends. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a shameless, over-the-top rave review on Apple Podcasts especially. That helps us build audience. And we would really appreciate it if you could support us on Patreon, where you can enjoy premium bonus content for less than the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Just go to patreon.com/scandalsheet. Also, we want to hear from you. You can reach us online at Facebook or X, formerly Twitter, LinkedIn, or TikTok. Or just send us an email to scandalsheetpod@gmail.com. See you next time on Scandal Sheet!
Copyright 2024. Thad Halsley Media. All rights reserved.